Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by Ecomcy, the place of everything related to Amazon, FBA, private label, and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, your host, founder and CEO of Ecomcy. And today we bring another special guest. Her name is Sarah, and she's the founder and CEO of Ecomcy. Ecomcy, that's right. Where they specialize on everything that has to do with actually supporting you succeed on Amazon. They are experts when it comes to PPC, strategy, and much more. And actually, Sarah is going to be speaking about what they do at the agency today. And on top of that, today's topic is going to be an interesting one because I know she has a lot of experience when it comes to PPC. So I'm very eager to learn more about what she's been doing in the last few months, what has been working for her, what are some of the strategies she would recommend for us to try into the Amazon PPC platform and go from there. So before we jump into that, Sarah, I want to welcome you to the show. How you doing?
Hi, Vincenzo, and hi, everyone. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm doing well. Sunny weather, summer, so it's happy times.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, having a good time, I think, in Portugal, right?
Yeah, currently I'm in Portugal for a week, so it's very sunny and nice weather and a lot of festivities and events. So
Wow, I'm so
it's
jealous. Here in London is we're in summer, but somehow it's still 21 degrees and no sun, so I don't know what is happening.
it's
Because come
heading somewhere. It should come
for
out.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but thank you for being on the show. It's a
of
pleasure.
course.
I think we met for the first time actually in Istanbul or
Yes.
1 month ago over in the World E-commerce Forum. So it
Yeah.
was a very interesting event. And yes, from there I got to learn about you, your company, and what you do, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show.
Yeah.
And before we jump into all the technicality of PPC, which I'm pretty sure people is eager to learn from you, I think we can start with you. And it
Yeah.
would be nice to learn about who is Sarah and how you got started
Yeah.
into the commerce and what made you find your agency. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you presented me, I'm Sarra Maatallah, currently based in Luxembourg. I'm a founder of Ecomcy, and what we do is we help brands and sellers launch and scale on Amazon marketplaces
Mhm.
globally. We manage everything about SEO, listing, content, strategy, PPC advertising, and everything about Amazon troubleshooting. So actually, I'm working in this field now for over 7 years. I've been
Wow.
working before with well-known, established Amazon agencies in Europe.
Yeah.
And then I created my own small venture, Ecomcy. It's been now 4 or 5 months, so
Yeah.
it's still in the beginning, but everything is doing great so far. So yeah, this is a little bit of me. Originally, I come from Tunisia, but I've been in Luxembourg since now 7 years and a half. I love it so far. Little tiny country, but it's very international, and you never feel, you don't belong. You belong from day one. All the nationalities there. Also, Amazon headquarter there, which is the Amazon headquarter in Europe. So you can see Amazonians everywhere around you. So you feel you belong to the place where actually this is where you offer the service to your clients and brands globally
Yeah.
everywhere. But at the same time, the Amazon headquarter offices that are just in your neighborhoods. You see
Yeah.
Amazonian people everywhere. And it's like the spirit of, globalization and internationalization and e-commerce everywhere in the city in a way or another. So it's doing great so far.
Wow, what a journey. I love it. And I think that the beauty of that is that, you've been through the whole journey of, working for an agency. Now you have your own agency. So I bet that taught you a lot about, all the things that you need to consider to basically help Amazon brand succeed and into the whole marketplace. And I mean, 7 years in the space is a lot. Like, and the reason why I said that is because myself every single week, and I bet when you are go to LinkedIn and all the social media platform, every 1 week is like a lot of things change. Imagine in
Yeah,
7 years.
exactly,
So,
exactly. When I was there when a lot of things were launched for the first time, like Amazon
yeah,
brand stores and so
exactly.
on. Like
Hmm.
when you start at the beginning, where you actually work so hard to convince clients to launch their own brand store, and then they tell you, "What's this? I don't
Yeah, they
need
don't
it.
know.
I want to sell product." And look where it is now, brand store, and the use of brand store, and especially when you link it with sponsored brand campaigns and how much traffic, attraction, and especially help you to cross-sell all of your range of your products. And it's like a mini branding website for you on Amazon. So a lot of things changed and progressed, and a lot of evolution on everything we manage and we do on Amazon every single day. It's true.
Awesome. Now, based on this extensive experience you have on PPC, I'm very keen to now start the conversation around the topic, because PPC is also something that every single week keeps changing in terms of things that people saying, things that work, things that don't work, new tools being shown into the ecosystem, like Amazon Stream or Amazon Marketing Cloud, or different type of targeting, etc. So I think we can start the conversation about what are some maybe the trends you've been seeing in the last few months in terms of PPC, and what I mean with trends is maybe based on your experience that you see more and more that having, for example, sponsored brands and sponsored display is becoming more a part of your strategy, or you still believe sponsored pro is really the way to go, and we can start with this and then we can go from there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, trends is actually depends on how the brand or the marketer in general, what's there foreseen to the brand, to the success of the brand based on the data they have. So to strategize your PPC campaigns, it really depends on where you want to go. What's your goal? If it's actually to grow sales or actually to grow visibility and brand awareness. So all of these fall into how you want to grow your brand. What's your really main goal again? So what I actually recently have been seeing a lot, and actually it's been since, let's say, late last year, but especially by the beginning of 2023, which is everything about videos. It's becoming something very, very like trendy to see, very interesting. A lot of brands now are very aware of the importance of using videos in their campaigns. And this can be, of course, in the sponsored brand videos, which have been here like since a couple of years, but also the sponsored display now videos, which recently launched in addition to the sponsored display where you can put your image in the ad, but now you can also put your video. And this is actually to emphasize on the importance of how dynamic video of like 6 to 45 seconds can be so important to promote your product, but not only your product, your whole brand or range of products. And a lot of brands now, even with a small budget, they still can create a promoting video for all their, let's say, bestsellers, and they put it there with just focusing maybe on one product, but it's still somehow a way of cross-selling. So it's great to have an agency helping you with creatives and dynamics, or someone in-house graphic designer who's dedicated, because for now everything about images, videos, it's the best way to sell and to promote your product, and especially to convert, because in any way bidding and getting higher and higher with time, with seasons, and especially we're just out of prime, going now to back to school soon in September, then to a high traffic Q4 with maybe another prime, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. So it's a very, very busy time, and you're gonna invest anyway to be to increase your organic search, to increase your the conversion in general and your branding. So it's better to invest it on the right way and know how to use your ads. So I think videos are very, very important, especially for your bestsellers. If you want to scale, you need to create a great few videos, different places.
Not just a canvas video, very basic. Like, do a proper video.
Exactly, proper video with lifestyle, with some movements, with maybe some models, or just put the video on its place. How you're gonna use it. And few seconds, and it can do the job. And the other great thing about sponsored brand videos, let's say, is the placement on the search results pages. It takes a place of 3-4 products, normally sponsored product campaigns, or of organic product placement. And in that case, you're actually taking a greater placement in the middle of the search, the first search result, first page, and that can give a great visibility to your brand, to your product. And it can actually, in any way, the video will be auto playing, so you don't need the customer to click on it. So it's really worth all the money you will put in there.
And something that I actually wanted to ask you about video campaigns is, I think, another mistake I also see, and maybe you correct me
Yeah.
here, is that people, when they launch video campaigns, they try to do all the keywords at once. They try to take all the keywords they've been doing for sponsored products to video
Yeah.
campaigns. From my experience, and maybe you agree here, is that
Yeah.
I'd rather focus on my top 3, 5 keywords, and that's it, right? And I wanted to hear your take on here. How you usually select what are the keywords you're gonna use for video
Yeah.
campaigns, for example?
Exactly. What the point talking about is so valid, because
Yeah.
video campaigns in any way is going to be expensive in terms of
Yeah.
placement, bidding. So putting it in a broad way, putting a lot of keywords, it will not help you,
Yeah.
grow, or I don't know, you make most of it,
Yeah. It
So
would
it's
be just a
better,
waste. Yeah.
exactly. It's better to be selective. I would say I start with the 10 top keywords,
Nice.
and I would really go with the phrase match.
Okay.
Not go
Interesting.
broad, because it will be too much broad and you might not
Yeah.
attract the right customer who's looking for your product. And
Okay.
for exact, it might be in the beginning so much expensive when it comes to bidding, because it's really
The CPC.
exact. Exactly. So so I would rather always go in the midway, which is a phrase less expensive bidding and more actually visibility, and higher
Okay.
conversion rate when it comes to, of course, broad. So I go like that, 10 keywords, and then start to optimize 10, 15, not max in the beginning.
Okay.
And maybe
Okay.
I focus more bidding on the, let's say, top 5 keywords where I feel they're most related and relevant to my product and to the search, result, and what the customer is coming actually to look for. And from there, I take it. Optimization is the key always. So when you just launch a campaign, I would really do regular visits to see the performance. What is it about? How much impressions its keyword brought you? Click-through
I think
rate.
you can even see, if I'm not mistaken, the amount of time they watch of the video, right? And you can use also the metric to see if the video is actually good or not. Yeah. The
Exactly.
engagement, basically.
Exactly, engagement, exactly. And and you take it from there. If you find out, of course, keywords are not converting, you're receiving high clicks, but actually no conversion, you're spending some money. So it's better you take that and put it on other keywords with more conversion, and you negate those, or you pause them, or you decrease the bid. It's really based on your strategy. If you want really more focusing on conversion as like converting that into sales, or more actually on to visibility and brand awareness about your new launch, maybe.
Okay.
So
yeah. Talking, that's very interesting. And actually, I bet a lot of questions that sometimes people have with the campaigns is, when is the right time to launch them? Because maybe you are on a launch phase, you are on a consolidation phase, more profitability phase. So would you say this is something that you need to be careful when you launch them because of the cost, or you always advise have them active regardless of the phase you are as a seller?
Okay. Yeah, it's a very good question. Actually, I would always start with sponsored products when it comes to a new launch product, because you need also to see the customer search, reports, and see what are the main keywords and search terms that the customer is looking for. What are the main ones that bring in you high impressions, click-through rate, because you want to really understand how's your campaign performing, including that product that you're selling now. So running this for a few weeks, a month, to have an idea about your product performance, search, results, how the customers are falling into your ad, will give you an idea how to strategize later your manual campaigns, including, of course, the video campaign. So I would rather not go immediately with the video campaign, because this needs more brain
Of course.
And of course, as we said, it would be a bit expensive, high bidding. So you rather be sure where you're gonna spend the money on the right keywords. So I go with automatic campaigns, see how it goes, take the data, use the data then to structure manual campaigns and bid into on keywords and, of course, products.
Nice. So then, now that we're talking about the launch phase, you will say that when launching a product for the first time, you wouldn't do actually manual. You will only focus on auto campaigns to harvest data, right? And then might move that into manual, right?
Yeah. Auto for sure. Campaigns, automatic. But also depends if you had that product before. Maybe it's
you have some
variation.
data.
Exactly. Maybe new variation, maybe new just style, but you have already.
So you already know.
Exactly. You have already worked with that category. If you did, then you already have some background. What are the main keywords, the search terms to convert? Maybe suggest a new style or whatever. But if it's completely new product, new category, it's very, very safe to start with the auto campaign, even for 2 weeks, just to see how does it feel, what it's doing, and then go to the manual where you need to strategize. Because you can gather a lot of keywords and search terms from everywhere. You can go to tools like Helion 10 and see other products and competitors, what they're doing. You can see what Amazon suggestion to you when you put the product and, setting up the campaign. You can gather this data from anywhere. But I always have, I'm always curious on my personal touch and understanding by launching by myself the first, the first campaign to see what the performance and what are the data I'm gathering. With that, couple of weeks, then gathering all the other data I'm having from tools, from the other competitors, and so on, so I can help me in general create a plan for the manual campaigns. But I would rather always be in the beginning safe, especially if you have a brand or client with a very limited budget. So you need really to be people where to use it. Yeah.
Good. And when it comes to manual, because this is also a question that sometimes people ask me is they usually say, oh, should I go only for exact or should I go for exact, phrase, and broad? Or some people even prefer only exact and broad because broad sometimes can cover the phrase, spectrum, and so on. What is your usual experience with that? What would your advice with what type of targeting to do? Yeah.
Well, broad is very important and a lot of people love. But again, I'm not a big fan of broad, to be honest. When it comes to PPC, I'm always looking into the return on ad spend and on your efforts you're gonna put, and especially if you're dealing with a limited budget. So I always look for what can bring me more clicks, more conversion. So I will always go with phrase and exact. Sometimes it's necessary to go with a broad to just understand, what you're looking for and how the customer is searching. But if you're already familiar with the product and you want to just set up the right structure of campaigns and the right plan, I limit my keywords much into just phrase and exact.
Phrase and exact, nice. And I bet also now that we're talking about this phrase and exact, another question I actually always get is a negation. Some people say, oh, you should actually negate all your exact keywords into phrase. Some people say don't negate it, just let it be and just have a bit hierarchy so the exact has higher bits than the phrase so they don't compete. And I wanted to hear your take, like based on your experience, would you prefer to whatever you do an exact negative on phrase, or you just prefer to leave it open and then just optimize based on bits? What you prefer with them?
Yeah, exactly. I would prefer to leave it like that and optimize on bits, because you never know about the timing. You never know about what's happening in that product category with other competitors, with pricing, with other factors you cannot control, and you will never see in front of you on your data and reports. So for me, sometimes negating, it's like completely removing an opportunity that could be bringing you sale or impressions, or even like some sales that you will never see, but the halo, of sales that you can see.
It could be just a keyword that you're not converting well now, but you will in the future when you have more reviews,
Exactly. The only keywords really that I go and completely negate if something not really relevant completely, or something is so broad, completely broad. It's related, but let's say, I don't know, a mouse, and it's just a mouse.
Or it's suggesting or something like that.
So in that case, I know that it's going to be thousands of millions of search results, but no conversion at all. In that case, I go negate. But when it's something more specific, 2 to 3 words, very relevant to the product, I would rather not negate it. Yeah.
Nice. Now, another thing that is very important sponsor product is optimizing on the placement level, right? So that means as you gather more and more data, you start to identify patterns. You identify that some of the keywords perform better at top of the placement, some perform better in the rest of the search, things like that. And I wanted to hear your take on this. Like, what is usually your approach when it comes to optimization by placement? Will you create new campaigns just for the purpose of doing that? Will you do that on your original campaigns? And if so, what is your basically your action plan when it comes to optimizing placements? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, placement, I'm really glad you talked about this point, because a lot of people missing this on optimization, placement, and how important is the placement. Sometimes they go into optimizing all the levels of a of a campaign, ad groups, your sponsored products, keywords, and so on, and then it's still missing something, because they forgot, because placement is at the first level of the campaign setting, so it's not to the level of the ad group, and they really miss to look into that and see what's happening, because that can bring you a lot of success, or actually can elevate and increase your spend, and you lose on money, and your ACOS is high, and you're not understanding from where, because actually of the placement. So first of all, it's very important to look at that, to optimize it well. But as a matter of launching, let's say, a campaign, it really depends on your strategy for that product, and actually also your budget. Let's say if you have a very limited budget, but you still, that you have a good base of keywords that can bring you high traffic, high conversion based on previous experience, on your data, and so on. So you're clear and you're clean, but you don't want to really bid so high, because you need to respect the budget and so on. So I would go with down only. Down only in this way, you actually stay in a safe way, in a way or another, that you only decrease your bidding when it's not really gonna perform, but you don't actually risk on increasing the bidding, because you know that your budget will not allow you. So keep it that way. But when it comes to, let's say, peak seasons, which we have all over the year, and you have some focus products, bestsellers, and you have good budget, especially for that season, let's say Prime, Black Friday, and so on, and you're preparing your lead up phase, which is the phase before the event starting, for 2 weeks in advance, and you want to really aggressively bring the client or the customer to look at your product, or to wait your deal to start, rather than going to a competitor. So in this case, I would go and bid up and down for some time, to just see how this can help, your campaigns later, during the leading phase, during the event. So it really depends on your strategy, where you want to go, because increasing bidding up, it means you're actually telling the system to increase the bid by X percentage for this placement, if it will convert into sales. So this actually will give you a better overview on, like, what are the placements with my convert better, with my perform better, to later on adjust and optimize your campaigns on the right way for the big days.
Very good. And with the placement, just out of thinking in terms of the setup, would you say that when you start playing with this, is it more recommended to have one single campaign keywords, or will you still play with that on campaigns that may have 5 or 10 keywords, but you still identify that, let's say, top of placements perform well? Because I bet, as you know, the only downside of placement optimization at the moment is that it's only done at the ad set level. You cannot do it at the keyword level. So I guess maybe you also have done that in the past, of doing one keyword campaigns to play with the placements, right?
A/B testing is very important when it comes to campaign. When you have the time, and you have the available all the factors and everything, and you would like actually to understand more. So I would, of course, encourage to have A/B testing, test by one keyword, different placements, different percentage, and see which would be performing better. And based on that, later on, if you have, again, the budget not that big, and you want to actually strategize better, then you can pause whatever it's not working and keep up with the campaign that worked better. But again, this is still something can work in X time, but will not work in Y time, because again, a lot of other factors working in the back end and in the background are manipulating the whole system and the algorithm to that maybe you were expecting some results, but you will receive others. So I would rather then do this, but actually with more automated rule. So in this case, you don't need to really go each time and do it manually, because you never know what's happening. But you set up your rule based on your goal, KPI goal, and you let the system, do the job for you. And this would be an alternative, especially on high traffic seasons when you cannot do this for every single campaign, every single product, every single category, brand. If you're like, we're agencies and we manage plenty of brands. So I think automation is very important for PPC and especially scaling in such times.
And talking about optimization, this is also another question I wanted to ask you, because people always have the misconception, to keep the campaigns as optimized as possible, I should be doing changes on a daily basis. Some people actually say, no, opposite, you should be doing every week. Some people say every 3 days. So I know this depending on the brand or the level of traffic, but based on your overall experience, what would you say that is a good amount of days you should wait before actually, start making changes? Because I guess you can also run into the mistake of doing over optimization, which is actually also bad. You're just doing changes just for the sake of doing it, and then that's even worse.
I would say I will have a look twice a week.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, because and when I say have a look, really have a look, not really touch or optimize or change, only if it's necessary. But it's very important because there are some campaigns you can leave them for weeks running because you already set up your budget, your bidding, maybe your rules as well, either through automation or through advertising console, and then you can trust it will do the job. You will not you will not exceed your spend, or you will not fall into some high ACOS because you managed that and you let it work on the back end. But it's better always to go and check because you never know. So it's very important to, especially for your, let's say, best sellers, it's very important to go and check twice a week, have it just a look. If your performance is going the right way, if you see in the KPIs on the way you would like to see them when it comes to conversion rate, return on ad spend, and so on. If you see something is out of the scope, or it's not something you were imagining or actually expecting, then you need and again and check what's happening, what's wrong with it, in order to make the changes. But when it comes to bestsellers or like the driving categories of your brand, it's very important to keep an eye or dedicate someone to really go and check on the performance. If it goes to low sellers, which actually you have a different strategy, which is more about bringing traffic to them, more about brand awareness, then you know that you're not doing a lot of work in there and you want to keep it more organically. So you can visit it once in 2 weeks, something, to see how is it going. So it depends really on your priority.
Very good. And now the final question I had in mind as well, which is something that people has been talking a lot lately, is the day parting, right? Doing optimization based on times of the days and all of that. And I know this is definitely can help, but I also feel like for the majority of people, if you don't have enough data, it's actually not. You're just guessing as well, because it could be that in just one day is down, but it doesn't really reflect the long-term behavior of the market. So I wanted to hear your take on this. Like, when you will say is the right moment for a brand to explore day parting, and if you have explored, like, have you actually seen some significant lift, or it's really more like the typical thing we see in the Amazon space, something new, let's everybody try, but really it doesn't really move the needle as much as we thought.
I think it's really very important now, day parting, especially again going back to the peak seasons, peak time, when you put that budget and that plan and that deals and and you spend a lot and you invest in and you did a lot of efforts and you want really your campaign to convert and to perform. So putting rules to manage your daily parting is very important. And this can be like, you can look at your data, let's say you can check it 1 year ahead. So for example, you can see the trends during a normal period, during a peak season, and based on that, you can actually create your rules towards your campaigns and let it also work on the side, and it will help you a lot to actually not spend a lot of time and consume time, but in the opposite, to be more efficient on using your budget on the right hour when you feel it's more converting. And this is, again, it's not really the same strategy used everywhere, but as you know, every marketplace is different. Every category is different, but especially every marketplace and the location as well. So you need to be really careful on your reporting to check how's your product is performing in the US compared to Italy, compared to Germany, because the schedule of work time is different, and the schedule of high traffic is different, and the schedule of converting is different. So you need really to study well and localize your strategy based on the market and on the country, and on the purchase behavior of the customers. So because sometimes you find countries, let's say in Europe, we have the top 5 European countries. I'm including also here the UK, and but plenty of difference and a lot of difference between even neighboring country. Let's call them by names, Italy and France. So the purchase behavior, it's really different. So you need really to see where you have high traffic, but more where you have high conversion. So this is where you will limit your budget, increase your bidding in those hours, because the client will finish at 5, go home, I don't know, at 6:37. It's deals time, so you'll be sitting and looking until midnight, maybe, and you concentrate your budget or your bidding that time. But again, every person is different. Maybe for another country, they're more checking before they go to work. So maybe you increase your actually bidding during the time of waking up 6 a.m. to start at 9 a.m. So it needs a lot of studies and understanding your customers from which market, their purchase behavior throughout the year, and based on that, you create your rules to maximize your profit and your performance.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So I know this PPC topic is such an interesting thing, because we could be speaking here for days. I mean, there's so many things we can dive right into. But it's nice that we touch on a lot of things, such as sponsored brands, sponsored product placement, even day parting, which is a hot thing now. I'm sure I'm gonna have you many episodes in the future, because again, there are so many things we can talk about, and we're just scratching the surface, as people call it.
Exactly.
Now, before we conclude the episode, of course, I want you to just tell us a little bit about how people can reach out and find you and your company, because I'm pretty sure some people might be interested in receiving support when it comes to everything that you do around the Amazon ecosystem. And then I'll make sure to put it down in the description.
Yeah, sure. So you can visit us on our website, which is ecomance.com. Ecomance, it's written the same way as e-commerce, but instead of RN and instead of CS, so it's ecomance.com. And if you're interested on getting in touch with us, you can fill in the contact form, or you can fill in the free audit form. And we're happy to contact you back, and we schedule a meeting together so we can see what are your needs and what you would like to us to visit. Awesome. And also on LinkedIn, we are Ecomance, and also my personal LinkedIn is Sarra Maatallah, as it's written. And also we are on Instagram, if some people would like to visit social media, also as at Ecomance.
Awesome. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time for being here. And I'm sure, as I said, we're going to have you back to keep discussing PPC related stuff. And in the meantime, wish you an amazing week ahead. And thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Vincenzo, for inviting me. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.